All right, so let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Um, let's start from the beginning because I've had the privilege of seeing you from the beginning. Um, I'll tell you. Well, let me ask you. So, did you start? Was your freshman year your first year wrestler?
So I started wrestling in seventh grade.
Seventh grade. Okay.
I didn't make the basketball team at Shanahan, and some of my high school buddies like Nate Hall and Blake Young and all them. They convinced me to start wrestling, and that's where that all started. I started in seventh grade.
Okay, so at the Olentangy High School, the original Olentangy High School, the Braves Lewis Center, I remember seeing you, and I want to say you were like 113 pounds your freshman year. I mean, was that
You're
your
right.
weight class,
I was at
113?
113.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we were, and I remember it's the first time I ever met your dad, and we're sitting, I think it was at Marysville, if I remember right. We're sitting up at the top, and um, you know, I looked over and I saw your dad sitting there, and I said, well, which one of these guys do you claim? And he said, well, I've got two of them. One of them's down there right now. He's the little guy down there right now. So I remember you being small. And Kyler, I mean this with all respect because I love you, man. I do. You weren't very good.
I'll agree with you on that one, man. I was not very good.
I just remember thinking, okay, we got a long way to go with this one, right? But your passion and everything, like you said, you maybe you felt like you were the punching bag in the room for those first couple years, but I got to see the development that you put in through your dedication in the sport. And like you said, fast forward to that senior year where things really clicked. And this, and I don't want to gloss over too much of this because again, it can resonate and should resonate with a lot of high school wrestlers. The high school tournament starts tomorrow in the state of Ohio.
It's a great time.
And there are, I mean, one comes top of mind right now. That first time qualifier was on the bubble, and he made it just like you. And in 2015, there was 5 Olentangy Braves that made it. 2 of them ended up being state runner-up that year, so they were like the anchor. It was Nate Hall
Yeah.
and it was Chris Crum.
Yeah.
And then you and your twin brother Connor, who were, Connor was what, he was 220, I think that
Yep.
year, and you by that time I think you had been
170. Yeah.
170.
Yep.
And then the tie-in there is my son Xander was, I think it was 138 that year.
Yeah.
And so 5 of you guys go off to the Schottenstein Center, the state tournament.
Oh yeah.
And why don't you, so I've set you up, right? So I've kind of walked you through memory lane. What did I miss? What stands out to you as your growth as a wrestler from that time at 113, that little guy, to before you stepped on that first mat at the Schottenstein Center in 2015?
Man, the first thing that comes to mind is I faced some adversity my junior year in high school, and I'm sure you remember. I actually fractured my back playing football, and it was just that stress fracture, and I played all summer on it, and actually kept me out of football my junior. Like I said, I was 145, so it kept me out of football my junior year, basically the entire season, and kind of bled into wrestling. And I think from that point, I really had to make a decision, because I think when I envisioned going to college, I wanted to do a sport. There's very little chance I was going to be football. I was 145, wasn't really laying out very many people. I was the one getting laid out, and I think I loved wrestling, and so I had to make the difficult decision of kind of choosing one or the other, and I chose to stick with wrestling and only choose that my senior year. And I didn't play football my senior year. I didn't even play with Connor, and which was really difficult for me. And I didn't get to play with Jacob and Zachary, who came on their freshman year. That was huge for me. It was a really big decision, and I focused on wrestling. And I think a combination between that adversity and just I felt like I had to make a choice. And I focused on wrestling, and also the combination of when Jeremiah Weber became my coach sophomore year, he really he was a mentor for me, and he still is today. I've been very lucky with the coaches that have come into my life that I've wrestled for. I've been extremely lucky, and I would say those two things were the turning point for me. Jeremiah got me going. Really kind of changed my mindset in terms of, just making me a better man, honestly, and a better competitor. And he was really took the time to work with me. And then junior year, when I fractured my back, I made that decision. And I think from that point right there, that was a turning point for me. I focused on wrestling, did freestyle and Greco. All of a sudden, I'm starting senior year, and I'm winning matches easy. It wasn't really that was not happening junior year. I was out most of the season anyway. So, but then I excelled my senior year, and I did really well. And yeah, I was on the bubble, made it to the state tournament, everything, and that's all history from there.
Okay.